Hello, this is Darwin German, and I want to go over Iron Ranch. Now, this is a development deal. It's office, warehouse, flex space located in Fate, Texas, and it is new development. So we are building this. We've got two other partners, two other main partners on this. Charles Anglin, who has a lot of construction experience, worked on Garages of Texas as a consultant and urban garages. So it's a similar product type to that, but theirs is a condo model where they sell. And we also have David Tuttle, who is a commercial real estate broker and expert in that field as far as the leasing and development and all things commercial. And together, us three are building Iron Ranch. Now, this is going to be a concept that we're going to replicate all over DFW and all over the country, and hopefully make it a branded office flex space, which is not something that's been around. Similar to, I think of it like Blockbuster. Before there was Blockbuster, for those old enough to remember, every rental shop was all mom and pop owned, and they were all over the place, and they were all individually owned, different names, everything else. Blockbuster came in there and started buying them all up and congregating them all into one entity. So they had one giant entity that they ended up, I think, selling to Viacom. And that's kind of the idea, is we want to have this branded product where we have these all over town, so that when somebody wants to lease space at an office flex building, then they're coming to us because we have them all over town. And so that's the overall scheme of it. Now, just to tell you, I'm going to jump over here first, as I always do, and tell you what the numbers look like, because we're doing this a very unique way. This is the first time I've done it this way as far as this structure, and it is the absolute most lucrative cut to the partners. Again, I'm going to say that again. This is the most generous offering that we have provided, and that's because it is new development, and because we're planning on doing a whole bunch of these. We want to make sure that this one gets done right, and so we're offering some extremely beneficial terms to you. The way that this is phrased is it's a 25% preferred return per year to the partner, and then a 50-50 split on any cash flows above that. Cash flows, sales proceeds, refinance proceeds, et cetera, et cetera. So what that means to you is year one, we're building. There's no cash flow coming out of that. So there's nothing to pay. So somebody that invests $100,000, their capital account or their balance then they would be due at the end of that first year is $125,000. So they make $25,000 on paper on a $100,000 investment, 25%, even though there's nothing there. Year two, now they've got 125,000. They're going to be paid 25% on that $100,000. This means that it accrues, so that now you're, rather than being 100,000, you're owed 125. Year two, you would be owed 150. That does not compound, meaning the 25% that is accruing is not on already accrued amounts. So by year three, during the refinance, you should be owed your $100,000 investment back, plus 3 years at 25%. So on a $100,000 investment, you should expect your $100,000 back, plus 25% per year. So it's 175% cash back in year three when we refinance. This is before the sponsor makes anything. Okay. So it is a 50-50 split after they get paid back. So basically year three, you're paid back 100%, you're paid back 100% plus the 75% that you've received. Okay, everything's good up until here. Now I'm going to redo this page, Mo, sorry. Okay, so what that means is the investor gets 25% per year. First, they get paid first. They get paid 25% per year. That needs to be all caught up. Then they have to be paid off their total amount that they're owed. And then they still get 50% of the cash flow, either from refinance, sale, etc. So what that means here is that as a whole, $9.1 million is raised. We owe 25% of that, $2,275,000 year one, but we can't pay it. Year two, they're owed $2,275,000. Okay, so what that means is the investors get paid 25% per year before the sponsor makes anything. Then they get 100% of their cash back before the sponsor gets anything. And then after that, it gets split 50-50 with the sponsor. Okay. So what that means here, just for a $100,000 investor, they will receive nothing year one because we don't have any cash flow year one. If we have any cash flow, 100% of that goes to the partners to pay that 25% pref. If we can't pay the whole thing, then it accrues and carries on to the next year and the next year and the next year until that capital account is completely paid back. Now, year two, we owe $2,275,000 in preferred return, but we can only afford to pay $1,608,000. Okay, so there's $666,000 that accrues. So then that's carried forward, and again, now we have $2,275,000 plus the amount of cash flow, $1,723,000. So we're still owed $551,000. Okay, that's for the investors what they're owed. But when we refinance it in that year three, it goes first to pay off the 25% per year investors are owed. Then 100% of those proceeds go to pay off the investors, so they're totally paid in full. And then the balance after that refinance is $1,600,000. Then they also get half of any cash flow moving ahead. So again, the investor receives 25% return first, 100% of their cash back second. Then it's a 50-50 split. So the sponsor does not make anything until investors make 25% per year plus 100% of their cash back. Okay, unbelievably incredible deal for the investors. Again, this is the most lucrative deal I have given ever on any of the transactions. Okay, so what this means for a $100,000 investor, $100,000 year one, there's nothing, there's no cash flow. We're budgeting that they would get $17,000 back in year two. Year three, first thing again, they get caught up to their 25% per year, so that they make 75% return, plus then they get 100% of their cash back. That total is $166,000. So 166 plus 17. Well, let's go and do this and say, okay, plus. That means investors get $183,000 before the sponsors make anything. Okay, so that is a huge deal. Then they still get cash flow moving ahead. So year four, you can expect $4,600. Now, if we sell in year five, then they still get 50% of the net proceeds from the sale, which is another $94,000. So this is saying that the investors are paid back $283,000 back on their $100,000 investment over 5 years, which is a 34.92% internal rate of return, which is, like a 35% per year average annual return. This is huge. And actually, it's right up here, 36.6 average annual return. Huge returns for the investors. And that's because this is new development. It's the first one of its kind. We want to really whet the appetite of everybody that's involved so that they can make a lot of money. Again, I'll say it one more time. Investors get 25% per year that's paid. That's any money that comes out, that goes to them first. Next, any money that comes out goes to pay them 100% in full. Then after that, it's a 50-50 split. So again, the investors make 175% before the sponsors, us, me, David, and Charles, make anything. So that is a huge, huge deal for the investors. Like I said, it's the most lucrative, and I don't think I'll ever do this type of thing again, but I wanted to make this one really, really special and get everybody excited about it. And the way that that works, we'll go through the numbers again. We're paying 3.9 for the land. It's actually worth 4.9 according to the appraisal. Construction cost, $18 million. Tenant improvements, 1.6, leasing fees, 250, closing costs, 800, loan origination, 400, interest reserves. We put in $1,450,000 because that first year we don't have any cash flow, so we have to have enough in reserves for that. Plus, we put $200,000 in holding costs. That's the negative cash flow from operations year one, and then still have $500,000 in extra reserves or cushion. Okay. So that is those numbers. Here's our rents, our projected rents. They were already pre-leased at $20 a foot, and we've had to put that on hold because it took longer to get our development going. We're really breaking ground. We're thinking February or March, but we're closing on the land and getting architectural and everything done over the next 3 months of getting everything in place. So we're projecting rents. The premium spaces are front spaces. We also have collector spaces. Those are gated access, higher security, and better. All the rest of them are at $20 a foot. Part of the beauty of this type of properties, these are triple net leases. That means that any expenses are passed through and the tenant pays their pro rata share. That means that no matter what the expenses are, those are passed through to those tenants, and then we get that as triple net reimbursements. So let's just say that there's an extra, for some reason, there's a $200,000 expense, okay? Total operating expenses are $1 million, and we've got $952 in reimbursements. Well, now expenses are $1,258,000. We've got $1,132,000 in reimbursements. So it takes the risk out of expenses out of the transaction. The reason it's not dollar for dollar is because that 10% vacancy. If that vacancy were zero, then it's dollar for dollar. $1,278,000, $1,278,000. So let's take that back to 10% vacancy, and let's take out that extra $200,000. Okay, so it takes the risk out of this equation by having triple net leases, which is a beautiful thing for a landlord. We go out 5 years. Year one, we're not going to have any income, but we are going to have some expenses: maintenance, utilities, insurance, property taxes, etc. So we know we're going to lose money. So I budgeted $128,000 in expenses, but we've got $200,000 to cover it. We also have debt service of $1,260,000. If you remember, I put in $1,450,000, and that's because this debt service is interest only on this payment, but I was covering it in case it's an amortizing loan. So we've got lots and lots of cushion in here, okay? So our returns, then we're gonna grow. Year two, we're gonna be raising rents 3.5% per year. Expenses go up 2% per year. And we keep a 10% vacancy factor. That's 8% on vacancy and 2% on collections, okay? And our other income grows as our expenses grow and has great cash flow. Now we're saying that we are all in on this thing at $27,100,000, okay? 27 million. We're saying a value in year three of $44 million, and that is at a 7% cap rate. 7%, that's pretty high. Okay. We're also using 7% on exit with that $47 million exit valuation. And that's how we come up with our numbers. And again, investors receive 25% preferred return. That's what preferred return means. You're preferred, you get preference. You get the first 25% return on your money each year. Then the next amount distribution goes to paying off the investors 100% in full, okay? So by year three, you've got 25% per year plus your original investment back, plus then half of anything above the 25% pref, and the 100% repayment. Again, this puts the investors completely first on everything. They get the first return on investment at a huge 25% pref. By the way, a preferred return is usually between 7 and 12%, maybe, on a preferred return. And we're going big on this because we want to make sure that everybody is thrilled and everybody's excited about the deal. Okay? So you can walk out of this in year 3 and saying how much money you made and got all your money back. And then it's still putting cash flow out in the future, depending on how long we own it. But I did plug in a sale in year 5 where you'd still get another $94,000 back. So again, a great, great deal for the investors. And this is Iron Ranch in Fate, Texas. We have the other presentation that shows where it is and more about it in a great area, high development area, freeway frontage, great deal. And we'd love to have you as part of it. And this will be a great success and everybody's going to make money and it's going to be great. Of course, these are projections, but that's the projected returns. But it still says in the documents that you get 25% per year pref and 100% of your cash back before the sponsors make anything. Because the sooner we get your money back, the sooner we start making money. Again, you're paid first, which is an absolutely outstanding deal for you. So love to have you involved. If you have any questions, reach out to us. But that's it in a nutshell. It's a little bit different having a preferred return, which means you're preferred as the investor, and then 100% payback to you before the sponsors make any money. So I hope that clarifies it, and thank you so much. Again, reach out if interested, and we are closing on this very soon, and we're already 90% of the way there, but I wanted to do this so that everybody understood what it was. All right, thank you so much, and I appreciate your time, and looking forward to partnering with you.